The roar of the current generation of Formula One engines often masks the silent, frantic race taking place behind the reinforced walls of engine dynos and high-tech laboratories. For Toto Wolff and the collective intellect at Mercedes-AMG high-performance powertrains in Brixworth, the year 2026 is not a distant deadline, but a looming opportunity to reclaim a throne that was once indisputably theirs. The shift in regulations for 2026 represents the most significant architectural change to the power unit since the dawn of the hybrid era in 2014. It is a moment of total reset, a blank canvas where the historical data of the past decade is distilled into a new vision for the future of automotive performance. Toto Wolff has been increasingly vocal about the internal benchmarks being hit, projecting a quiet but ironclad confidence that Mercedes has once again found the key to the ultimate performance puzzle. To understand why Wolff is so optimistic about 2026, one must first look at the fundamental shift in the power unit's DNA. The removal of the MGUH, the complex heat-energy recovery system that defined the last decade, has leveled the playing field in terms of raw complexity, but has simultaneously opened a massive front in the war of electrical efficiency. In the 2026 era, the electrical component of the power unit will contribute nearly 50% of the total output. This is a staggering jump from the current hybrid systems, where the electrical side acts more as a supplement to the internal combustion engine. For Mercedes, this is home turf. Their long-term investment in battery chemistry and electric motor efficiency, spurred by the Mercedes-Benz global push toward electrification, has provided a massive reservoir of proprietary knowledge. Wolff has hinted that the early integration of their electrical engineers with the chassis team at Brackley has created a synergy that their competitors, particularly the new entrants, might struggle to replicate. The 2026 power unit is not just about raw horsepower. It is about energy management and the strategic deployment of every joule of energy. Toto Wolff's confidence stems from the fact that Mercedes has mastered the art of the duty cycle. Under the new rules, the combustion engine will utilize fully sustainable fuels, a change that requires a total rethinking of combustion chamber design and fuel injection timing. Mercedes has a history of working hand-in-hand with Petronas to optimize the chemical energy of the fuel to match the mechanical requirements of the piston stroke. Wolff believes that their understanding of sustainable fuel combustion, combined with a highly efficient turbocharger setup, will allow the Mercedes V6 to remain the most potent thermal heart on the grid. He often speaks about the learning curves and how Mercedes is currently tracking ahead of their own internal milestones, hitting targets for thermal efficiency that were previously thought to be impossible under the new constraints. One of the most critical aspects of Wolff's optimism lies in the cooling and packaging of the 2026 unit. Because the electrical output is so high, the thermal management of the batteries and the MGUK becomes a primary performance differentiator. If a battery overheats, the system derates, and the car loses hundreds of horsepower on the straights. Mercedes has reportedly developed a revolutionary cooling architecture that allows for sustained peak electrical output without the weight penalty of traditional oversized radiators. Wolff has noted in interviews that the car's overall aerodynamic efficiency is being dictated by the power unit's compact packaging. By making the engine and its hybrid components smaller and more heat-tolerant, they give the aerodynamicists at Brackley more freedom to sculpt the airflow. This holistic approach, treating the engine and chassis as a single breathing organism, is what Wolff points to as the Mercedes edge. The arrival of new manufacturers like Audi and the partnership between Ford and Red Bull has added a layer of prestige and pressure to the 2026 transition. However, Wolff views these newcomers through the lens of experience. He knows that building a Formula One engine is not just about having the best engineers. It is about having the best infrastructure and the most refined testing protocols. Brixworth is a facility that has spent 20 years perfecting the simulation of every conceivable failure mode. Wolff's confidence is rooted in the reliability of their 2026 prototypes. While others may be chasing headline horsepower figures, Mercedes is focusing on the consistency of the power delivery. In a world where energy recovery is king, having a power unit that can recharge its batteries rapidly and deploy that energy precisely where the driver needs it is more valuable than a few extra kilowatts of peak power. Wolff's leadership style during this transition has been one of intense focus and internal protection. He has shielded the HPP department from the distractions of the current championship battles, ensuring that the brightest minds are dedicated to the 2026 project. He describes the 2026 unit as a masterpiece of engineering that bridges the gap between the internal combustion past and the electric future. The confidence he projects is not just for the media. It is a signal to the drivers and the shareholders that the Silver Arrows are prepared to dominate once again. He has often referenced the 2014 season, where Mercedes arrived in Melbourne with a power unit that was so superior it changed the sport forever. While the gaps in 2026 are expected to be tighter due to more restrictive development rules, Wolff believes that the nuances of their energy deployment software will provide the margin necessary for victory. The software side of the 2026 engine is perhaps the most guarded secret in Brackley. Under the new regulations, the driver will have a manual boost button, a tactical reserve of energy to be used for overtaking or defending. The algorithms that manage how this energy is harvested during braking and how it is stored for that crucial moment of deployment are being developed with the intensity of a space program. Wolff has praised the software team for creating an interface that is intuitive for the driver, but incredibly sophisticated in its execution. He believes that the Mercedes power unit will be the most drivable on the grid, giving the pilots the confidence to push the limits without fearing a sudden loss of energy or an unpredictable torque curve. This drivability is a hallmark of Mercedes engineering, and Wolff insists it will be their greatest asset in the close-quarters racing of the new era. Beyond the technicalities, there is a psychological element to Wolff's proclamations. By stating that Mercedes has the best prospects for 2026, he is setting the narrative for the driver market and the sponsorship landscape. He wants the world to know that the Silver Arrows are the place to be for the next decade. He speaks of the 2026 engine as a statement of intent, a proof of concept for the entire Mercedes-Benz brand. It is about more than just winning races. It is about proving that the star remains the gold standard